Yes, I've been writing for Barnes and Beach magazine probably since it started. I did an article in the Great Therapeutic that I've been in it several times a year since it's been published.
Okay, I'm trying to figure here. I'm just having some problems here. Okay. All right, we're recording that, and looks like I'm all up on all of my stations here. One more thing to check here. Your email is the Revisionist. Do you not have a website? Are you?
Yeah, I can. The best thing to contact me, people that are listening, is to email me. That's the simplest thing. I send you links to all kind of stuff. I'm gonna say my email, then I spell it. It's Eagle Revisionist. That's EAGLE REVISIONIST at AOL.com. Eagle Revisionist at AOL.com. Email me. I'll get back to you and send you all kinds of good stuff.
All right, Harold. I've got a title here on an article I think that you did, From the Temple to the Talmud. Now,
yes, sir. That's the new book.
We've kind of been led down a whole different path. It appears to be a communist path. I was just sharing an article by D.V. Kidd, who I've known for years, pretty accurate, talking about how the communists have infiltrated the Senate. Now, when the communists took over, a lot of the communism, the Russians referred to it as communism as Judaism for the masses. What are we looking at here? I just sent to somebody from a Muslim. I was up on my chat room, and I said there's a couple of things I can't tell you. I can't tell you whether the United States owns Israel or if Israel owns the United States, but maybe it's the City of London owns both countries. What's going? What is the analysis here?
Yeah, apparently, you mentioned communism. Let me hook on that for a moment here. We live in a time, Clay, that you and I, our generation, knows about communism because we grew up during the 50s and we saw what communism was. And yes, communism is Jewish. It's something that the American right wing tried to tell people long time ago, but we come to a time in history where the last two generations really don't, my children, your children, all of those folks, they don't really know anything about communism. And some people, I was talking with some young people a while ago, last week, and they were saying, oh, communism's just another form of government. And they don't understand. They don't understand where it came from. They don't understand what a horrible oppressive system it is. They don't understand that after World War II, the Roosevelt administration and Winston Churchill, that turned Eastern Europe and millions of people. They turned them over to the communists, the Bolshevik Jewish communists. And they ruled that area with an iron hand until not so long ago.
Harold, let me hold on just a moment. Yeah. Hold on just a moment, Harold. I'm going to call you back. I think my call's failed. Your sound's breaking up here. Let me call you right back.
Okay.
All right, sir. Be right back, folks. All right. Where's my Skype here? Okay, let me get back up. Come on.
Since it appears you're calling back into a live show,
Good.
we are reconnecting you now.
Thank you. That's nice. And how about...
Yeah.
Okay, Harold. All right.
Guys have a
I got you back up, and you sound good now.
good.
And
Yeah, we were talking about communism there, and I don't know whether they heard what I said or not, but basically people today don't, particularly younger people, don't really understand what communism is, and no one really knows about the history of it. And you are very correct, it is essentially a Jewish system. Karl Marx, while one Protestant, others converted to Protestantism. He was born Protestant, but he is very Jewish. And Friedrich Engels, who wrote with him, also is very Jewish. They were,
and of course the Rothschilds. We've got the Rothschilds.
mostly, yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes, that is very correct.
It's
But yeah, communism.
Go ahead, please. What is? Explain it to people. I don't think people my age understand. I don't think people my age even understand this, Harold. Explain it to us, please.
I don't think that most people do not understand it, and most people, if you talk to them about communism at all, they say, "Oh, that's over with now." Russia, they don't have that anymore. And yet, the same people that were in charge under communism, Vladimir Putin, as much as I admire him in some ways, was the head of the KGB. That's like in the United States, if we had former head of CIA as president, which we did when George Bush I was president, so he was head of CIA. So it's always known about what communism really is, but we tolerated communism and promoted communism in Eastern Europe. We turned Eastern Europe over to them. That was a horrible thing, and ask anyone that's from Romania, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, any of those countries about communism, they'll let you know that it was not a good thing, and it wasn't, quote-unquote, just another form of government. It is an evil system. It truly is.
Every plank, and I've told this to my audience many times, Harold, and by the way, it's really nice to have you back on my show. I'm sorry I'm not on worldwide shortwave anymore, but or for the moment. But every plank on the Communist Manifesto, I volunteered for Vietnam in 1964, volunteered for Special Forces Airborne to go to Vietnam, and that was before I found out it was an illegal war. And when I came back, I actually read the Constitution. I took an oath to defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And every plank on the Communist Manifesto is intact in America today.
Oh, you're right. Communism, in a lot of ways, has come to America. The name is not used, but the system. And what I mean, we get on, and let's talk about President Obama for just a moment here. He and his wife, if you follow, first of all, they're the only presidential family you've never been able to find out anything about. You don't know anything about them, and what you do know about them, most people do not like. Because both Michelle and Barack were essentially Marxists when they were in the educational system, and all of this quote-unquote community organizing that Barack Obama did. All of that is the socialist communist system, is what he's putting in place, and that's what he's putting in place in our country right now.
And wasn't Bill Clinton part of that too? Bill and Hillary.
Well,
I mean,
yes, he did. Yes, for sure. Yes, it is.
And you know, I first got started in this, Harold, when I documented the fact that Bush, as director of the CIA, was involved in running cocaine. CIA.
Hello? Yeah, the CIA, all the intel organizations world over have always been involved in the drug trade. It's too lucrative, it produces a source of income for them. They do not have to account for, and they can virtually use however they want. And you won't blame somebody for the drug trade. Look at the CIA, because apparently, and you know about Vietnam, they brought all kinds of drugs back from over there.
Yes. Yes. And then they did it again down there in Panama and Colombia.
Oh, yes, of course. Wherever it is, they have gone after it.
Oh yeah. We should not mention the the fact that our troops are guarding the opium poppy fields now in Afghanistan.
Well, that's one of the things. That's definitely one of the things that they're doing. They're protecting the drug trade. They really are, and that's one of the main sources of income that Afghanistan has. They don't really have much else. That's all they have. And we are supporting that, and lots and lots and lots of money is coming into this country from it.
It's a rigged game. They because they've made our #1 cash crop, started off with that in the 30s, billion-dollar crop. They made it illegal for farmers to grow it here. You could build Ford cars out of it and run them on the hemp plant. And they started a war on drugs. I said that was a war on the American people. Anytime somebody can come up to you and say, "What do you got in your pocket there? What is that? What is that?" Ooh, you're going to go to jail for that. So you're in a police state, aren't you? They did the same thing to our farmers, Harold. They went after our farmers. They turned them into bootleggers and moonshiners for making the fuel to run their own vehicles on. So and they're just doing that over again with the drugs. They're bringing the drugs into the country. They're putting it. They're sending it up here on the backs of the Mexicans. The Mexicans are illegals anyway, so they don't care. They're not in any risk. And our prison systems keep growing. We got 40% of the prison systems are illegal aliens that we have failed to keep out, or we put the Border Patrol agents in jail that tried to arrest them. What's going on?
Yes. The cannabis plant is a very useful plant. I mean, we may tee off some people about saying all this, but I think that it should be legalized. I think people should be allowed to grow it for whatever the purpose is. It produces many products, and people don't have to just get high off of it. There is the hemp oil, and the hemp seeds, the hemp plant can make all kinds of things out of it, as you were talking about. And the so-called war on drugs, I think we talked about last time I was on the air with you, that the war on drugs is a war on the American people. We have more people in prison in this country than any other civilized country all over the world has.
Including Red China.
Yes, exactly. Yes, we have more people here. Private prisons or privately run prisons are now big business, and in some states, prison labor competes with private business. They make various products and things like that. I once was on to do some business on, and it turned out to be the fellow was in a prison. He was doing telemarketing from inside a prison. So we got them doing all kinds of jobs, and we got a whole prison population in the United States. And if you wanted to say, is the prison system really helping anyone? Does it really help anyone? The answer, of course, is no. It does not. It's a profit-making system.
It's all
victimizing people.
It's also it's a system of slavery. These people are in work camps the same way Hitler put the Jews in the work camps, and the Gypsies and the Christians. Anybody that was against the regime got put into these work camps.
Yes, if you want to look at really the great work camps of the world, back to the communist world, that's where they all were. And in today in China, people go there, people go buy stuff at Walmart and all these places, and essentially labor system in China that those Chinese children, they get put in factories early in their life. They really never get to do anything else. That's all they ever get to do. And that's made possible by the fact that we buy all those products and we don't, and of course our manufacturing base is virtually ended here in the United States, as you very well know.
And that's part of, you know, our factories have been deported with the World Trade Organization and NAFTA, and I spoke out against them 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I was telling people, don't do that. I was telling people what FEMA was going to become. You know, 8 years ago, I did the film on True Face of FEMA. In case of a single outbreak of smallpox, we'll need 400,000 well-armed, well-trained, organized, disciplined troops. I mean, that's what they're planning for us, isn't it? They're setting us up for a revolution. I think that's what Occupy Wall Street is about, too. What do you think? Are they trying to...
In a lot of ways, Occupy Wall Street is a very strange movement. A lot of it is not all that way, but it's very leftist oriented, and that's essentially what it is.
The Davy Kidd says one such issue is collectivism itself. This is she says the majority of Americans have been neatly placed into two camps of collectivists who believe themselves to be opposites, but in reality are both big government collectivists who squabble over a few issues and leave some of the more important issues completely alone, because those issues are beyond the bounds of civil discussion. It's that's what she said. One such issue is collectivism itself. Surprise, surprise! Anything touching on real empowerment or individualism, truly free markets, not corporate cartels, constitutional limits on government, or truly representative constitutional republics serving the best interests of citizens. No, not foreign invaders claiming to simply be lacking their documents, foreign bankers, corporate cartels, or semi-secret society members, you know, but real citizens are not allowed. It's in other words, we're in this communist movement. How do we fight it? I mean, we will be called anti-government, won't we? I mean, the same thing is happening in America that's happening in almost every country, except we've got the law on our side. I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
Happening in almost every country. We're being oppressed, and true freedom of speech is becoming rarer and rarer in the world. These people are going to break you if you go to this, but I know that many people are listening to us and they wonder, oh, are these people crazy? What are they talking about? Communism's over with, and they must be Nazis. They're all against the Jews. And America is having a love affair with the Jewish religion, the Christian religion, most of it, not all of it, but most of the Christian religion seems to be based on the Jewish faith. And we don't understand that this religion is not a friend to Western civilization and never has been. Never, ever has been, never will be.
That's right. And because they have, you know, deliberately they follow the protocols of the elders of Zion. You know, if you're Jewish, if you mention that in a Jewish company, they'll certainly start screaming that oh, that's forgery. Don't you know that's a forgery? What's a forgery? It's an exact copy of the original. And
new book comes to the Talmud. I have a chapter in there about the protocols, and I quote from a very similar document to protocols that popped up back in the 1500s, where the same things were being talked about. And protocols, everyone, if you hear look anything up about, that's a forgery. That's not true. But anyone, and over the years I have given, I don't know, probably hundreds of sold and given away, hundreds of copies, maybe more. Most people, once they look at it, one of the things they say is, that seems to be what's going on right now, or it's already happened. And I say, yes, it is. That is exactly, yeah. Call it a forgery, call it a hate document, call it whatever you want. But read it, look at it, see if those things are happening. I think you'll find that they are. I don't see how you find otherwise if you're an objective reader, and I know most of our listeners are, that they look at this, they will see what I'm saying, what you're saying is the truth, that the protocols are a plan, and how exactly that out into the public, we don't really know. It was a long time ago now, 100 years ago. But protocols are the true thing. That is what the New World Order globalists, New World Order planners, that's their plan. Look at it, you'll see what Clay and I are talking about.
And it's what they call in the protocols our terrible power of the purse.
Say that again, please.
Our terrible power of the purse. It's control of the money. And let's see. Oh, what's the fifth plank on the Communist Manifesto? Central bank.
Oh, that's right. Yes, yes.
So as soon as they got that central bank established here in this country, we basically became debt slaves to the bankers. Yeah, that's number 5 on the Communist Manifesto. And they're going after, I've said, anytime a communist country takes over, Harold, and please feel free to correct me if I'm misstating anything. Anytime a communist regime takes over a country, they go after 3 classes of people in order. They go after the farmers first because they don't want you being able to feed yourself. 9th plank on the Communist Manifesto is corporate farms. 2, they go after the intelligentsia. That's men like you and I that are well-read and understand history and have learned and trying to learn from it. And 3, they go after the law enforcement and veterans that are still loyal to the old regime, in case you want to defend your Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. If you take it seriously, as I did, then you're a rebel. You've become a rebel. You become a criminal. Like Ayn Rand said, you know, they don't have any power over individuals, but they don't have any power over honest citizens, so they got to make criminals out of us. Is that what's happening right now? Is there, even with this Occupy movement, how many hundreds of people are being arrested and are in the system, got their ID taken, got their accounts, they got their pictures taken, they know who they are now, and they're the people that would be on the blue list? You're familiar with that, red list? You and I are on the red list?
Yes, yes. Speaking of the Occupy Wall Street, did you see the black lady on TV? She looked like she was in her mid-30s and said she was a teacher in the LA school district. And she spoke out very suddenly and she said, all the banks are run by Zionist Jews. We need to get rid of them. And of course, the next day she lost her job. Did you see her? Did you chance to see her?
Yes, sir. I am aware of that story.
Yeah, I knew it. I said, oh my goodness. As soon as I heard her speak, I said, that poor lady, she's going to lose her job. She first of all, she should have said where she worked. But yes, so not all of Occupy Wall Street is leftist, but the primary leadership of it, the primary funding of it, the primary impetus for it seems to be that.
Well, they're encouraging, in order to take over this country, just like Libya, just like Iraq, just like they're probably doing in Iran. They're stirring up the leadership to set the people against the police. I mean, this is what I think the Occupy Wall Street, the ulterior motive behind the Occupy Wall Street is. They want to get the police and the people hating the police, and the police have been militarized and made into stormtroopers, and that's sure to set free people, or people that think they're free, against each other. Who does that benefit?
The police used to be our friends in a lot of places in this country. They have been, yes, as you speak, have been militarized. They are taught that they are to fear the public. And certainly, when the Anti-Defamation League, the Jewish ADL, comes in and quote-unquote trains the police, they train them to recognize what you and I would call patriots and constitutionalists. They say these are potential terrorists. They also say that anyone returning from Iraq is a potential terrorist. So, yes, all of this is changing the whole attitude in America, and we are an oppressed people. So many people do not really realize this. They don't quite get it yet.
I keep telling people we're in a war. You know, if you want to be free on your own,
absolutely,
we're in a war. I've always called myself the canary in the coal mine. If they come after me, they can come after you next. You know, because I'm not doing anything wrong. I mean, I still, after they pass, by the way, that whole homegrown terrorism bill, remember that one, 1959, I think it was?
Oh, yes, I did.
I walked into the FBI office after they passed that and dropped a bundle of magazines down. I said, there's enough here for one for every agent here. Read it. It's got the history of the Rothschilds in it.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
But I walked out.
Let me go back to Oxford Wall Street and the protocols for a moment. While we were talking there, I looked up the thing on the computer, and I quoted from Protocol 3. Let me read just a little bit and see what you think. First of all, it talks about creating, which is what you and I were talking about, creating hatred among the people. And then it says, quote unquote, this hatred will still be further magnified by the effects of the economic crisis, which will stop dealing of exchange and bring industry to a standstill. We shall create all the secret subterranean networks open to us, and with all the aid double, a universal economic crisis, whereby we shall throw upon the street whole mobs of workers simultaneously in all countries of Europe. These mobs will rush delightedly to shed the blood of those who, in the simplicity of their ignorance, they have envied from their cradles, and whose property they will then be able to lose. And in it, they say, ours they will not touch, because the moment of the attack will be known to us, and we shall take measures to protect our own. That is Protocol 3. Stuff like that. Get it online. It's available. It's free. Read see what Clay and I are talking about is the truth. And here is Protocol 3, written over 100 years ago, or whenever they were actually written, and talks about bringing the world into an economic crisis. And yet, here we are. That has happened.
That's right. You're absolutely right. It's it's what when they took over. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, go right ahead. Please.
I said when the Bolsheviks took over, when they invaded, when they murdered the Tsar and took over and established communism and starved 60 million white